Welcome to the Fayetteville Fire Podcast, where we talk about all things fire-related, safety tips, and things that are happening in our can-do city. I'm Captain Stephen Shakeshaft, your host for the podcast. Did you know that 1/3 of all Christmas tree fires are started from electrical problems, whether it be with your decorations or the plugs? We'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the podcast, but for right now, Chief Dove, how we doing this morning?
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
How was your Thanksgiving?
It was great. We cooked up a turkey and had a good time.
There's something special about fire station holidays. Being daytime, you get to enjoy them at home, but some of the best I've had are at the fire stations. So.
Oh yeah, that was some of the best eating anyway.
Yeah. So anywho, we promised last quarter when you gave your update to council that we would get you back in here to dig a little deeper and talk about some of the stuff going on in the fire department. So that happened last week. And what's the big going on?
Third quarter was we stayed pretty busy, but it was also productive, and we saw some fruits from our community risk reduction efforts and other things. So it was a good presentation. It was good to talk about.
Yeah, we're excited. The CRR division, we've got our second civilian starting next week. So now we will have 2 dedicated educators out in the community focusing on what are the specific things happening in Fayetteville. Not here's your monthly safety message that's good to know for safety, but really what's happening in Fayetteville, digging into how we can address specific risks and have people with education backgrounds. Miss Jody McMillan starting with us next week. We're excited to meet her and get her in the door.
We've really doubled down on our public education by bringing in educators. Historically, we had firefighters in those roles who did fine, but they were firefighters. They weren't educators by trade. So we transitioned over and brought in some educators by trade to dig down into those the issues that affect the folks of Fayetteville and to try to get them some information and some education on how to make those problems go away. So we look forward to seeing how that goes.
Yeah, 5, almost 6 years ago, during my captain's promotion process, one of the assessment centers was actually a station-based community risk reduction project where you had to look at specific neighborhoods, specific call types and things like that. And here we are 5 years later, and we do that. We have done that, but now it's like really getting into the deep of it, and I'm super excited to see those things come into fruition, those new ideas. So one of the things that you touched on in the presentation was medical responses going down just a little bit. How's that looking? We had talked probably last week. We had discussed our partnership with Cape Fear Valley EMS. Those numbers coming down, you think that's maybe it just happened to be that way, or is that community paramedicine program working out really well for Cape Fear? What do you think?
Well, if you look at our numbers historically, they ebb and flow. But we did see, let's say it was about 150 calls from the previous year, and that was down an additional 50 calls from so we're hoping it's more of a flow, and it won't trend back up. I know their community paramedicine program, along with some of their other, they also have risk reduction efforts going on similar to us, but in the medical world. So hopefully those are showing some fruit for them and the folks that are affected by it as well. So we just enjoy our partnerships with our community partners, and we all work together to try to make Fayetteville a better place. Yeah,
we actually had Mr. Gooden from Cape Fear Valley just a couple months back on the podcast talking about their efforts and how, we just talked about our educators working with their educators and getting out and just preventing those calls from ever happening. So, you're driving a fire truck, lights and sirens down the road. That's one of the most dangerous things we do. So if we can prevent that from ever happen, everybody wins. Saves everybody. One of the big things this quarter, and we talked about it probably the most on social media, is the deployments that we saw. Hurricane Helene out west. How many folks did we wind up sending out there?
From the Fayetteville Fire Department, there were over 40 folks that went. But remember, the USAR team that the Fayetteville Fire Department is responsible for is a collaborative effort between the fire department, the police department, and Cumberland County EMS. I don't have the exact number, but I would say well over 40 responders from Fayetteville and Cumberland County went out that way.
Yeah, it was three. I want to say it was what, 3 rounds of 18 people, but then some of them they were doubled up where they went the first and the third time.
Yeah, and we also had we had some folks from our operations division. We had our fire investigator go out. We had a fire inspector go out, and we had a battalion chief go out, and they helped at the city of Asheville, so their folks could go and collect their thoughts and check on their loved ones and their life, basically, to make sure what they had was still there. And we also sent members of hazmat out there as well to help, because with all that stuff getting washed down, there was fuel tanks and all kind of other things that had to be dealt with. So it was a grand effort.
Everyone sees the swiftwater rescues and the collapsed buildings and all those things, but we don't think about those LP gas tanks, rail cars. I saw some photos of rail cars just tipped over and strewn all over the place. Heck knows what they're full.
Oh yeah, there was any and every hazard you could imagine was involved. That deployment, our folks, we've been in the urban search and rescue business since 2004, and this deployment, there's no comparison to this deployment and how it taxed our staff and their knowledge, skills, and abilities. But it amazes me, and I'm just so proud of how they acted. For 6 days, they didn't get a shower. They worked. They were there the day before the storm. They worked through the storm and after it for 6 days, and did not have a shower. Just imagine that. Yeah. And then when I called them and said, "Hey, I'm switching you out. You've been up there for a week. I'm switching you out to come get some rest," they fought me because they were not ready to stop. They wanted to keep helping, and that just speaks volumes for the responders that we have in this city.
And you touched a little bit on the other folks that went out. We don't think about the firefighters in Asheville were just like we were in Matthew. We were responding to calls here in Fayetteville while we didn't know the condition of our homes. The firefighters in Asheville were responding to calls in Asheville and in all the areas of the mountains, not just Asheville, and they didn't know the conditions of their homes. They couldn't call their family and check on them because all the cell phone towers were washed away. So to be able to provide even just those extra couple people to go ride that fire truck means a lot to them. I've had several of them reach out to me to say thank you.
Yeah, you even though you're a responder and you're here for the greater good, if you don't know what's going on in your life and your family, you're not going to be any good to anybody else, and you're actually going to probably be a liability because your head's not in the game. And to just and it was a collaborative effort from the whole state, really. All the fire departments came together. They sent up folks and equipment just so those folks in Asheville and those surrounding areas could take a few days, catch their breath, check on their loved ones, check on their properties, and just kind of get their heads wrapped around everything. I think it's well worth it. Well worth it.
And other city departments, too, may not have gotten as much fanfare, but we even sent a team up there to help clean debris after the fact. Everything was calmed down. Rescues were done. Well, now it's time to pick up trees. Now it's time to dig out homes that had collapsed. And I'm not sure how many people the city sent, but we did send another team out shortly after us.
Yeah, Public Services sent out, I think it was 12 or more folks. And that's, just it's rejuvenating as a person, as a human, to see. I mean, unfortunately, you see these horrors and these events, but to see how people, come around. Nobody's worried about politics or who's voting for who. They're just there to help their fellow human, and the support is great. And it all comes back to the city management and the department directors allowing these folks to go. I mean, we're all short-staffed, and we're all doing everything we can to make Fayetteville right. And, it was just a great effort and a great collaboration to get our folks up there to help and get them back and get everybody safe. And it's good to see. It's rejuvenating as a person.
And I just want to make sure that you get the chance on probably a little bit bigger of a platform than the council meeting to give a little shout out to the folks that helped us while we were out there.
Yeah, we brought we had two churches that really took our team kind of under their wing when they were up there, and just sat with them, prayed with them, helped them decompress, made sure they had snacks, made sure they had anything and everything they wanted. And we got with the mayor and the city clerk, and we got a letter of gratitude done up and framed up, and we're sending to them. But that was Dr. Randy Barton and Anchor Baptist Church in Pisgah Forest, and Pastor Winston Parrish at Trinity Baptist Church in Asheville really took our teams under their wings, and we're forever grateful for that.
Yeah, I got the opportunity just to swing by what I call base camp out there and see the setup they had, and I just saw the outskirts of the damage. I didn't get to see the worst of the worst. Drove through a little bit of it, and that church, man, they were just spot on. You walk in, they had food, they had water, they had everything they needed to go out. So thanks again to those folks.
And remember, those folks were dealing with total devastation and loss too. So for them to focus in on our folks, it's just there's still good people in the world, and that's the good part about these things.
For sure. So operationally wise, was there any other highlights that you wanted to touch down? I had marked down a couple things on the operation side, and that was one of the big ones right there.
The biggest thing for the third quarter report that came to my attention was the amount of fire starting in the kitchen. That went up double from last year in the third quarter, and that, that's alarming to us, but that tells us that's where we need to focus. We know that the majority of our fires start in the kitchen from cooking unattended or otherwise, so we continue to go full force with our risk reduction efforts in that, and we continue to push our smoke alarms, and we also now have the stovetop fire suppressors. Auto outs, yes, those are, and so that's, this data is not just numbers. When I stand up there and report it, there's actually meaning behind this data, and we pull it for a reason so we can dig down and address these issues.
Yeah, so if you're not sure what he's talking about, the auto outs are a really cool thing. They function on a magnet. All you have to do is stick this canister magnetized over your stovetop, and it's heat activated. It's not smoke activated or anything like that. If enough heat reaches that canister because you have a fire on your stove, it'll disperse the agent, knock the chemical down, and then all you have to worry about is a little bit of damage to your kitchen, not burning the house down. And we've already seen some success. A lot of the apartment complexes heard about these things, and a few of them wanted to get them put in, and we've had at least two in the last year that took what would have been possibly 8, 9, 10 families losing their residence and brought it down to just a kitchen fire.
Yeah, that's where it really makes a difference, and it's really effective, is in these multi-unit apartment complexes and stuff like that, where when one person has an accident, it affects 10 or 12 other families. If we can get in and get these, if we can work with property management or the owners and get these put in, man, what a difference it makes for a very small cost.
Yeah, we've got a project coming up. I'm not going to put the cart before the horse too much, but we do have a project coming up working with our partners in the city in economic and community development that we're hoping to really get this message out about the auto outs and get more out to the community, because we've only got so many dollars to go around. We've got to work together financially to help out people who can't afford these things, encourage people who can, and you'll hear more about that coming up probably after the first of the year. So we're looking forward to that project, getting these auto outs in more homes. You jumped in after going over some of the operations numbers, started talking a little bit about things coming up with our people. Human resources, people are our number one asset. And luckily, we had last couple months ago, last month, 26 or so firefighters come out of the academy and report to shift, which I think you referred to that last time as Christmas for you.
Yes, Christmas came early. November the 1st, we brought 26 folks actually on the fire trucks, which That was great. And the third quarter was a great. If you look, I presented that we hired 13 certified or lateral hires, and what that means is we opened up a application process for folks that were already working or functioning as a firefighter, and they could come over to us, go through a short academy, and go right on the truck. So we got them hired and got them on the trucks, and that was a reflection of the council's commitment to our pay and increasing our starting salaries in July. So that was great. Right now we have, I reported 5 for the third quarter, but we're about halfway through the fourth quarter now, and we're about eight vacancies. So it's creeping back up, but we're still in pretty good shape.
And a lot of people don't, we've talked about this before, but they don't understand when we hire an uncertified firefighter, it's 6 months before that person sees a fire truck. And in that time, we're losing people. There's turnover in any business. And when you've got 350 people, you're going to have some people retiring, resigning to go somewhere else. So it takes time to replenish those folks. And we've got 6 in a new partnership with FTCC. We've got 6 City of Fayetteville employees in the Fire Academy right now, along with some soldiers as part of that program. So we're going to roll right into hiring season coming up in January. So even though we just hired a whole lot, and we have 6 right now in training, getting ready to come early next year to shift, we turn right around and start hiring again.
Because if you look, we had 8 resignations in the third quarter and 3 retirements. So unfortunately it's been kind of a revolving door. We're looking to shore that door up with some different strategies. But the fire service nationwide is seeing this, so it's not just in Fayetteville. So we're okay. We're in good shape, and with the partnerships that you guys in the recruitment group are making, it not only kind of fills us back up quick, but it opens up those diversity doors as well. So we're looking for opportunities.
Yeah, I've been super encouraged. The numbers in candidate orientation sessions started off this year kind of low. The very first one, it was kind of low, and I was like, oh no, are we going back in time now? But then the next 2, we had over 20 in each one of them, and I was very encouraged to see not only the number of candidates coming out to orientation, but the quality of those candidates coming out. So it's looking good for this year's recruitment season.
Yep, and one thing was kind of interesting to me was our increase in female numbers. I think we're up to 21 females now.
Yeah, something like that.
The last couple academies have been really kind of 2 and 3 females in each academy, which was unheard of years ago. So we're doing good. You guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing in the recruitment side of the house.
And I'll be honest with you, when I took the recruitment position, one of the areas I struggled in was how to reach females when I have no clue what it's like to be a woman in a fire station. How do I relate to that? And my recruitment committee, I can't tell you how many times I get a phone call from a lady, hey, I was talking to Chelsea at the gym, or hey, I was talking to Haley at the baseball game. That's really where these connections are made. They're not made at a job fair necessarily. They're made living life with people and getting to know each other, and them seeing how awesome this job is from a woman's perspective. So it's been exciting. It's been fun.
Well, keep up. We still got some work to go.
We do.
The council's goal for us is 30%. We're at about 23% right now. So we've still got a little work to go, but we keep reminding them that it's a marathon and not a sprint, and we're doing what we can do, and we're gonna get there.
Yeah, and I've had good conversations with city leadership and a couple of the council members about it's all about seeing the world from a different perspective, bringing value to the organization. It's not hiring somebody because they're X or because they're Y. That's not what it is. It's, let's face it, a certain calls on EMS. You have a pregnancy call. A woman is going to be great to have that resource on the fire truck, right? Like things like that. It's having those life experiences next to you is what makes that diversity valuable, not simply, well, we got to have so many of this, and this. That's not how it is.
Well, in a perfect world, your workforce reflects your demographics of your city or your response area, and I think we're about 55% underrepresented population in the city. So we've got some work to do. But the fire service is it's a very niche job. I mean, not everybody's going to do this job. It doesn't matter what color you are or what gender you are. If you don't have the heart or the desire to do this job, it's just not going to work out. So those are challenges that you have to work on, and we've got faith, so we'll get there.
Even when I recruit people, I tell them, you either love this job or you're going to hate it. There's no in between. It's dealing with what we deal with and seeing what we see. If you don't love it, it's going to eat you alive, and most people are very receptive to that. They're very understanding of that. So.
And what I like to say is, and when I'm pushing the smoke alarms and the different things, is I always tell people fire does not discriminate.
Yep.
And neither do we. We don't care, what black, white, blue, green, or purple, male, female, whatever you want to be. We're here to help. We're going to take care of you. Socioeconomics, none of that matters to the Fayetteville Fire Department. We're here to help. From the richest of the rich to the poorest of the poor to those in between, it doesn't matter. We're going to give you the same service and do it with a smile.
And the same opportunities of employment. How many times have we seen folks come up, they come work for us and they're struggling to get by, 25, 26 years old, not sure what they're doing. Then they come work for the city of Fayetteville and work their way up and get those opportunities that I want to provide people to for employment. Yep. Financial success. So anyway, enough about that. Is there anything that I missed as far as highlights from talking with council? I want to make sure we don't miss anything before we wrap up.
I don't believe so. It was a good report. There was some good questions. We got them the answers they asked for. And we just want to remind everybody, nobody should go to bed at night without a working smoke alarm over their head. We provide them free of charge. If you're within our voice, you can call us at 433-1116, and we will be there within hours to install a smoke alarm free of charge. And even if you don't live in the city, we'll get you in contact with one of the local fire department in your area, and they will come do the same thing.
Every fire department in Cumberland County does it, so we will be there for you. Well, talked a little bit at the beginning of the show about Christmas tree fires and Christmas tree safety. A lot of people don't think about a natural Christmas tree that goes unwatered, even if it is still green, can burn up in less than 30 seconds. That entire tree can be burning and working to ignite the rest of your home. There's some videos on YouTube that kind of show you the side-by-side comparison of a watered versus unwatered tree. So we want to remind you, if you do have that beautiful, smell good, natural tree in your home, to water that tree every day. Check those Christmas lights for frays and electrical problems, because 1/3 of those fires are caused by electrical failure. And most importantly, enjoy your Christmas or holiday season, whatever you celebrate. We want you to take some time, spend time with family, because that's what we're going to do as well, spending time with our fire family in the fire stations. So thank you for joining us at the Fayetteville Fire Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to Radio Fayetteville on your favorite streaming platform to listen to all of our podcasts. Join us again next month, but until then, stay safe, Fayetteville.